Hello and welcome to the Seahawkers podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Schultz, and if you don't recognize the intro music, then it has been a while since you have tuned into PNW Prop Stars, which is one of the many podcasts that we do during the season. And it's the off season now, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things to talk about in terms of sports props related to the Seahawks. And so here we go. I'm going to turn it on over to my man, Clinton Bonner, who generally hosts the show during the regular season. Clinton, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Brandon. We talked. We want the familiar voice, the comfort food that is, you, Brandon, right? The one and only Brandon Schultz to bring us in, because I think folks probably did forget. It's been a while that we have this glorious show that we do during the year that we call PNW Prop Stars, which is a look at. Really, we call it the only Seahawks only gambling show in the multiverse for a reason, because every single week we look at the best bets that we want to lay money on. And again, you could always, if it's like Seahawks Rams, you could take a Cam Akers prop if you wanted to. You got to explain yourself. You better explain yourself, but you could do so. But it's focused on the Seahawks game. That's another way to kind of, I say, pick the game apart, analyze it a bit differently, and maybe make a little scuttle as you're following along at home. And if folks do remember, hey, we played all last year, and the winner, he's here with us. Mr. Wilson Kahn, the year one champion. He's back. He's home for the summertime. So he's on the West Coast himself. Wilson, are you ready to defend your championship and just start today for that matter?
Absolutely. I realize there's a target on my back, but I'm ready to defend myself the whole way through the season. So let's do it.
Awesome. And Adam, you were on, and basically it was back and forth, week in, week out. Once you figured out the gameplay, Wilson got the best of us at the end of it, but you were right there too, Adam. So as we enter year 2 of PNW Prop Stars, I hope you're ready, bud.
Oh, I'm totally ready. And this is a fun exercise. I wasn't a gambling guy, or still not really, but doing the show is a really cool way to look at the game through a different lens and see how some of the sharps are looking at it, how Vegas is looking at it. And it kind of helps to shape each and every week your view of what is to come, what is to happen. And so I've enjoyed it immensely. Wilson did win the total amount of money that he won. I won the most weeks. Now I know that wasn't the end goal. I know that, but I still feel like a co-champion. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, you did really good. You also got you got a trophy as well as I did, because guess what? I won money too last year. So all three of the major hosts won money. Brandon, you stepped in for a week or two, and maybe it wasn't so hot.
I'm pretty sure the weeks that I fill in, I won or came in runner-up. So I probably would have dominated. If we're all throwing out our own versions of how we won, then that one's mine.
Yes, you know what? You're like a running back who just needs his touches. You can't just bring you in for 3 to expect you to hit a home run there. You need to grind it out.
No, I'm like the running back who comes in and smokes it when he's given the opportunity.
Yes,
he's born ready, boys.
That's it. He needs his touches, right? And this year, when we do get into PNW for the regular season, we're going to talk about bringing out some, just getting the flock more involved too. We'll figure out how to keep track of that all. And maybe, hey, Brandon, we'll put you on the spot. Maybe we could do some prizes for the PNW Prop Stars and the flock as well. Figure that
budget.
out.
There's a budget's gone.
All right, folks. And you got to get to gettingtheflock.com and hit that button, get that budget ready. But as we look at it this year too, boys. So yeah, the games are pretty far off. We typically look at either FanDuel or DraftKings or kind of wherever you can go get some bets that you could verify essentially. And this is the kind of the all too early season-long bets that we're already liking for our Seattle Seahawks. Our typical format is we'll do kind of 3 regular bets, if you will. We call them our $10 bets. And then we do one that we call our Fail Mary, which has to be plus 1,200 odds or longer to qualify. We're not going to go through all those bets today because there's just not that many out there, but we are going to go around the horn and do kind of like our favorite solid bet, the one we would really put some money on, and then the long shot bet, the Fail Mary, that we'd have no problem putting $1 on to see if it would hit, and we get these beautiful season-long plays for some of these too. So I think, boys, we got to go with golf rules. We got to go with the champion takes it first. So, Wilson, you're on the tee box. It's our first down, the first of the year, early preseason. It's the first one. You get first top draft choice. What do you want to bet, and why do you want to bet it, dude?
Well, really common bet this time of year is either to take who you think is going to be division champ, top 2 in the division, or total wins. Those are sort of the major 3 offseason bets that people will look at in terms of team results. This year, I think the Niners are still house favorites by pretty decent margin in the division, with the Seahawks being a respectable runner-up, far ahead of both LA and Arizona, who are not really in consideration. So there's a few options to go with if you want to bet on the Seahawks doing well in the division. You can take them to win the division at plus 195 on DraftKings, or you can take them to get over 10.5 wins at plus 175, which means you're probably coming in second at worst, most likely second. I think the Niners are still good and usually division champ, especially with the 17-game season. You're probably winning at least 12 games. So in terms of, I was basically basing my thinking here on whether or not I think the Seahawks are more likely to win the division or more likely to win over 10.5 games, given that the odds are fairly similar. And I decided to go with 10.5 games. The Niners are still really good. I hate them, but they're a really good team. And the schedule has not worked out terribly for the Seahawks this year. I think, the AFC North is ultimately a somewhat difficult division, but I like our chances at least against two of those teams. And I don't buy the NFC East at all outside of the Eagles. I think, things are shaping up pretty well for us. Plus, now that this feels like the first time in a while that the division is actually not one of the best divisions in the NFL. We have two bad teams, like very bad teams in the division, which is helpful. Of course, it's never
Three
easy.
bad teams because one of them is quarterbacked by Sam Darnold. So
yeah, exactly. So, it's never easy in the division, but there's nothing in this schedule to me this year that screams, the Seahawks are going to have a hard time getting to that 11 win mark. It was a young roster last year, still a young roster, but now a young roster where a lot of these key rookies have a year of experience under their belt. So I'm sure we'll get into that more, but yeah, I'm going to take the Seahawks over 10.5 wins at plus 175.
Already gets us out of the gate strong there. So reminding folks, if you bet $10 and it's plus 175, you'd be winning $17.50. Bet 100, win $175. It's kind of how it works. Just to remind ourselves when we get to the negative ones, if we do, gets a little funkier. We'll talk about those then. All right, Adam, we're going to be going to you next, but do you want to comment on Sir Wilson's first take before you go? The floor is yours.
I definitely looked at that one. I think the over is as close to a slam dunk as you can get. Think about it. Last year, this team was a nine-win team with all the question marks. Question marks at quarterback of all things, right? And they've gone out and addressed almost all the issues that we'd really hope they would throughout the offseason, despite defensive line, depending on how you feel about that. As you look at it and you start hearing their plan for some of the rookies like Mike Morris and how Cam Young's coming along and things like that. Jordan Reed coming in to help with the defensive line there as well, to help with the run game. I'm starting to believe a little bit more. So the idea of getting to 11 games, I think that's pretty plausible. In fact, I think it's more likely than not. So to get plus odds, I think Wilson's right on it. I'm sad that he's starting out the gate with a good bet. That really bumps me out.
I like how Adam combined Jaron Reed and Brandon Jordan, the defensive line coach, into one person.
Did I say Jordan Reed instead of Jaron?
Just one person who could really rush the passer now. That's what that is. It's a good job.
Man, I just think that the Reed is going to have a great year this year. So don't worry about Reeds. It, man.
Jarek, Jordan, Jaron, they're all having great.
At least I got the J's.
Oh, wait, Jordan Reed isn't he a tight end?
It could be. But Brandon Jordan was the coach that was brought in to help with the defensive line. Right. So
all the J's. So we got our reads right. But what is your read on your first down bet there?
Well, my first down bet, I was going to go with Seahawks making the playoffs plus 100. So you get plus odds for something that I think is absolutely a slam dunk in a conference that is a weak conference and in a division where you should have at least 3 easy wins because, the Rams are probably going to give you a tough game out of the gate because they'll actually be healthy week 1. But I like it. I think that they're pretty much a total lock to make the playoffs in a weak NFC.
Yeah, bad conference. It's you're going to get your 1 or 2 surprise teams here or there, sure, whatever. Still not a great conference. Like just not great quarterback play up and down the conference. That's just not there. And again, plus 100, that one's the easiest, right? You bet 100, you can win 100. So pretty easy squeezy. This team ought to make the playoffs. It would take something that I don't really want to talk about for them not to. So, all right, Brandon, let's give you third here. Comments and/or want to go to your pick. You take it away, dude.
All right. Yeah, I'll go straight to my pick because I like what I've heard with both. I've thrown in a few comments there. Playoffs seems like a no-brainer. I guess with the win total thing, going the over, you always have to worry about injuries and how that could impact the team. And so that's why it always feels a little bit iffy. And one of the reasons why, I mean, with my bet, that seems like a sure thing. When I look at the division and I look at the Rams win total at over under 6.5 games,
Love it.
You don't have to envision or really take into account injuries at all with the Rams going under 6.5 games, just because it seems like it's going to happen. And I don't like the minus 111 because it's just not quite spicy enough. I actually like, I went to the finishing position for each individual teams.
Ooh.
And in the NFC West, for the Rams, third place is where Vegas likes them the most at plus 115. I don't think you can, I suppose you could figure out a way to do third place or worse. That would probably be a super easy bet. But I like the Rams in fourth place at plus 350.
Ooh, careful. It's a spicy one, boys.
It's a little spicy, especially for a first down bet. Yeah. But they do have the Arizona Cardinals to worry about. I think with the first year head coach, I think the Cardinals are actually going to be trying. And I kind of feel like the Rams are going to be trying in reverse. And, you know, the potential for injuries is even there more so with the Rams. Plus, they haven't improved on the offensive line. Defensively, they lose Jalen Ramsey, and Aaron Donald can't do all the defense all by himself. So I like the Rams at the bottom of the division.
Yeah, I think your heart might be telling your head to all go on this one. That's okay. That's what we're here for. Partly. I liked I liked the first one you threw out there, the under 6.5. I'm like, okay, I can see them being 6-11. No doubt. I really like the third place one. I'm like, oh, that seems like where they're going to land. No doubt. And it was still plus odds, but I like that you just said, you know what, Thelma, we're going right over this cliff, and took it to a last place finish. And what was it? Plus 350. Is that right?
Yeah.
Plus 350. All right. Before I get to mine, Wilson, any comments?
You're not going to do that, Adam?
No, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, man. That is a wishful thinking bet right there. I mean, you think about some of the top end talent that's on the Rams. Granted, they have a ton of holes, all that stuff. But if just Stafford and Kupp stay healthy throughout the season, they could easily be one of the best of the bad teams, like easily. And that could easily be 7 wins. I just think
you don't even like the 6.5 line. Jeez.
How many did they have last year? What did they finish with last year? Was it like 5 wins? Is that where they ended up?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was with nobody.
But they still had a defense, though.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And Stafford
they didn't have
Aaron
Donald.
Healthy.
It's a bit of like, which way are they going? You know, which way do you think they're going? I think they're a well-coached team that will stabilize in some way. And I think that's probably, Adam, that's probably what you're thinking as well. It's like there's enough talent there to be in a lot of games. They win 1 or 2 they're not supposed to. And then Brandon's busting pretty easily on that one. So, well, we shall see. I like the idea of placing a bet against the Rams the entire year. I do adore that. That's quite savvy of you.
I need another team to root against all year.
Yes, exactly. We got the Broncos, the Saints, correct?
Broncos are out. It does,
right.
A third round draft pick does not excite me as much as a last place finish for the Rams.
I hear you, but like if it's like the 60th,
especially if I'm getting paid,
the 65th pick overall, that's a pretty good good pick. But either way,
we could get the next D. Eskridge.
Yes. All right. Well, let me take that little segue, as we would call it, and say, yes, this is not a D. Eskridge prop. However, if D. Eskridge has a better year, it'll get this, off the docks and on its way. Guys, you left the best bet on the board. Now, by the way, if you only scoured DraftKings, you wouldn't have seen this. So this is a FanDuel bet. I love this one, man. So Geno Smith over 3,800.5 passing yards for the year. It's minus 112. I like the 12. All good with that. Last year he threw for 4,282. Okay. So 3,800. So 3,801. And I'm cashing this thing and ringing it early. So in 2022, he threw for 252 yards a game. To win this bet, he's got to throw for 224 if he plays all 17. I was like, all right, what if he gets dinged a game or two? All right, 16 games, 238. What if he misses 2 games, 15 games, 254, which is basically what he did last year? And I could still win this bet pretty darn easily. You add JSN, you add more weapons, you make the offensive line better, and you're telling me I could bet Geno to basically go 12 or so % less yards than he threw last year and still win this bet all day. So Geno Smith over 38, basically 38.01, and I'm ringing this thing at -112. Tell me why it's the best one. Wilson, what do you think?
JSN is here. It's a 3-headed monster in the receiving core now, and we might talk about JSN a little more later with my bet, but
Oh my,
I really think that's going to change a lot of things. And we had a good offense last year. That's gonna seriously send this offense to be one of the top ones in the conference and the league. I think.
Yeah,
The addition is very hyped for good reason. He's a very good receiver.
Yeah, he's really he is something. Brandon, what do you think of that one? 38 at 3,801 yard, and even if Dieskers gets that 1 yard, I'm cashing that thing.
Well, I like how you broke it down too. With one of the reasons why I don't like the win totals is because of potential injuries, and the same goes for total number of yards or touchdowns or whenever you're doing those types of props. So when you're accounting for the idea of 1 or 2 games less, and still, you think you can hit it with 15 games. I like it.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you checking my math. How about you, Adam? What do you think of my mathematics?
I think that the likelihood of Geno Smith having a down year and slumping back to whatever some people think that he was is next to nothing. And he's going to reproduce what he did this year, if not more. I mean, we talked about the JSN edition, but let's talk about Evan Brown or Olu being at center. That's a giant upgrade right there in the middle of the offensive line. Maybe Bradford comes through the way that we all hope that he can. I think that's an upgrade over an aging Gabe Jackson and a rotational Phil Haynes. So a little extra protection along with the receivers. Hell yeah, dude. Geno all day.
Yeah,
where do you think the line came from? Do you think that they took second half Geno and doubled it? Would that be about where it was? I am curious now of how it broke out. First half year Geno, second half year Geno, because some people are concerned about that.
Yeah, there's that. I don't know how they got to it. I just saw it and jumped all over it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And some of these games where I think we have a tougher schedule than last year. I don't think it's an impossible schedule. I think it's tougher. And with that, I think some of these games are going to just be more shootouts. Just okay, we're playing the Cowboys. Okay, that's in games indoors, games in good weather, games against teams who like to throw the ball quite a bit. So there's just a few things there that for me were like this one. I won't even say the words, but barring what, I think this one cashes quite easily. But how they got to it's really interesting. It just, to me, it seems like that's Vegas saying the narrative of Geno. If he does that, that's really kind of a bust year. Those are not great numbers. If he's down,
I'll say it for you, Clinton. Barring what means barring Drew Lock coming in and balling out in the preseason and stealing away that job from Geno, then yeah.
Hey, Pete says he's nipping at his heels, right? You never know.
Yeah, that's
the shape of his life. He could go in and start for any other team.
Crazy list season. That's it. It's a crazy. So this time last year, I was all up on the hose, being like, "He's the guy. It's Drew Lock. It's gonna be Drew Lock." And again, I'll wear it. I'll own it, and then I'll put my money where my mouth is on that one and say Geno's taking this one home. All right. So now we just went around the horn with basically our favorite lock bet for the year. When we do the show, PNW Prop Stars, we do 3 of those. And then we get to this last one that we call our dollar scratcher, our Sunday rubber, our Fail Mary, in homage of the very great catch that, of course, the guy, Golden Tate. There you go. I'm a Seahawks fan. Golden Tate made with the replacement reps and the whole thing already. It's got to be plus 1,200 or longer odds. Why don't we just go back to the same order? Wilson, you got to take grandma to a baseball game in a little bit, which is fantastic. So what Fail Mary are you pulling for a season-long bet? Maybe you gave a little foreshadowing earlier, and perhaps it involves a little JSN.
Well, I got to ask, are we playing 1,200 for this? Because those were a little bit harder to come by, but I can play 1,200 if you want.
No, you know what? I did say, since this is preseason madness, what I said in the text was Fail Mary-ish, right? So I gave the wiggle room. So if you found something that's a little around there, it's spicy. It's what was it, the Supreme Court that said, define pornography. They're like, when you see it. We know what a Fail Mary is when we see it, right? So hit us with what you got, and we'll make fun of you later. Don't worry about it.
Well, last year, my preseason Fail Mary, true fans of the show will remember I took Kenneth Walker, Offensive Rookie of the Year, plus 1,000. Still robbed, in my opinion, as was Tariq. Yeah. So this year, we've got some new hyped first-round rookies in JSN, as I mentioned, and also Witherspoon. So I was looking into what those odds are looking like this year. They're a little shorter odds. JSN is at plus 800 and Witherspoon's at plus 900. But I saw the odds I don't love for JSN at 800, especially in a draft where you've got so many top quarterbacks. One of them certainly going to win that award, Young, Richardson, or Stroud. I really think one of those three is going to come away with it. Probably Young. We'll see about the other two. So I'm leaning towards Witherspoon on this one at plus 900, just because there's not as many competitors there that I'm really like, wow, these guys are really a step ahead of Witherspoon in terms of their chances to win this award. You got Carter with the Eagles, Will Anderson, but with only those two guys ahead of him, I don't hate the odds, especially, it's no crazy occurrence for a defensive back to win this award. I mean, Gardner stole it from Woolen last year. We all know that. Yep. So I'm going to take Witherspoon to win Defensive Rookie of the Year at plus 900.
All right, Adam, what do you think of that? Going to Devin, going to Spoon for that plus 900. What do you think, dude?
All he has to do is just make about 4 picks, and that's a lock. And not that that's easy to do, but he has that sort of talent, and he's going to get the run. He's definitely going to play. So, I mean, the number 5 pick in the draft, betting on him to be defensive rookie of the year. I mean, that's not a terrible bet. I mean, the odds are a little low, and it's kind of cheating, but I'll let it slide.
But it's a nice, again, you bet $10 and you can walk away with 90 with that particular bet. Not too bad, right? Bet $1, win $9, gamble a little, win a lot. We like it. And again, that's what we call it, the Fail Mary. All right, Adam, what do you got for your Fail Mary? Something tells me you are plus 1,200 or longer. What you got?
Oh yeah, mine's way longer than that. I do have one question though. Are these counting towards our season totals this year?
No, this is not because
Great,
that's
perfect.
Yeah,
all right.
This is just like a preseason game. It does. If it happened on Twitter, it doesn't matter. That's how we're living.
Okay. Unless Clinton nails both of his bets,
then it counts triple.
Right. Counting.
Yeah. I really wanted to vote for or bet on Jamal Adams being comeback player of the year at plus 8,000. But then I remembered all DeMar Hamlin has to do is put on his helmet, run out on the field, and that's a lock. And good for him. Like, I'm not saying that's bad or anything.
Yeah, you anti DeMar Hamlin.
No, I'm rooting for it. I love it.
Did you see his odds though when you check that out?
Yeah, I think it was like minus something, was it?
Minus 300 already. Yeah. So Vegas is like with you. It's like FanDuel and DraftKings had him a little bit separated, but yeah, minus 3 or minus 500. Just basically go out there and play a little bit, and you might win that award, dude.
And rightfully so, and that would be amazing. And I'm rooting for it. So didn't want to go that way. So going with Offensive Player of the Year, Kenneth Walker III. Ooh. I think he's going to have a massive year. He is going to be the starting running back going into this season. He was not last year, and he barely got any carries through the first few games while Rashad Penny was taking the bulk of the load. Pete definitely is going to look at the offense last year and be like, we threw the ball too damn much. We need to get back to our identity. We need to run the football. I know a lot of people are screaming into the abyss right now, but what about Charbonnet and all that? Like, there's going to be enough carries to go around. I think Kenneth Walker has an explosive, crazy year, something in like the 1,800 yards range, a ton of touchdowns, and is the real engine of this offense, despite all of the weaponry on the outside. I love Kenneth Walker III. He is electric, plus 7,500. So that's a go big or go home one, boys.
Nice. Very nice. Very, very spicy with that one there. Yeah, I mean, so I listened, I've told you guys before, listened to a lot of like fantasy football podcasts, and they are so retracting on Kenneth Walker because of the Charbonnet pick. They're like, oh, you can't even take him. Kenneth Walker beforehand was like, okay, back of the first round pick. That was like consensus across the board for fantasy. You know, you pick 9, pick 10, pick 11. You're getting a workhorse, proven dude already. Then they take Charbonnet, and like the pundits are like, you can't take K9 the first 3 rounds now. That's how scared they are of the Charbonnet edition. So it'll just be interesting to see which one plays out. The piece for me, Adam, that I think makes it difficult is that I do think Charbonnet is going to get that short yardage stuff and be a bit of a vulture.
Nope.
And,
I can't disagree with you on this one.
He's
more.
not a short yardage guy. Go
He's
look at
not a
his
short
stuff.
yardage back. You're right, Brandon. You're 100% right. He's
In
not
what-
good in short yardage. He's fine, but he's not exceptional.
Yeah,
I-
they didn't
I
draft
don't
him to be a
see-
short yardage guy.
I
Yeah.
just think they're going to give him some of the opportunities because of the way he does go upfield much more aggressively than versus K9. Hey, look, if the numbers you spat out there, 1,800 and a ton of touchdowns, like to quantify that for, I hope you put a little something on there. So, put $10 on that so you can win 750 and then I'll buy you a beer. It sounds like a good one to me. All right.
I think I'll buy you a beer because I'll be rich.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, any more commentary on that one or go to your Fail Mary whenever you wish.
Ooh, that one's spicy. I do like it
Very
though. That
spicy.
would be it was one that I considered, but it's funny that the one that Adam kind of considered and then passed on is very similar to the one to my thinking, because I went to comeback player of the year. And yes, DeMar Hamlin, I went off a points bet. It was minus 556.
Wow.
But I want to see him hit the field and I want to see him get the award. And yes, that's all he has to do. But I mean, based off of his injury, it's not a lock that he makes it to the field. And so if he retires during preseason, then somebody else has to win it. And there's a long list of guys who, Jamal Adams is one guy that Adam mentioned. The guy that is Seahawks related and I think could be more likely to win it would be Russell Wilson, who is plus 1,750. And I see some places even have him at plus 2,500. So that would be where I'm going with my Fail Mary.
Wow. I mean, literally careful. That one is spicy. I kind of love it though. I think as a Fail Mary, I mean, you could always say things can't get worse. And then actually things can get worse. I just don't think they will. I don't think they're going to get worse. It looked to me like they start to figure some things out at the end of the year. Obviously a brutal first season in Denver. You get Sean Payton. Will he kind of obey is really what it boils down to. Will he play the Sean Payton game? Will he throw the ball over the middle on time and do what he says he loves Drew Brees? Russ says he loves Drew Brees, right? Well, here's your chance to go be Drew Brees and get that second act, almost even like a third act at this point of your career, and really show people, yeah, I was that good all along, and I am a first ballot Hall of Famer, and put all that to rest. So plus 2,500 is kind
Clinton
of nice.
Will Sean Payton be the coach that says, hey, I've seen Russell Wilson do Russell Wilson things when he's given that opportunity. Will I push him to be more of the Russell Wilson style rather than trying to fit him into the Drew Brees style mold and just use him to the best of his ability? I would think that would also be likely.
Maybe he's leaner and meaner. He's the leanest he's been in many years, right? It's that kind of season. So what do you think, Adam? Does Russ have a shot to take on the comeback player?
Look it up. He's going to have a bounce back year. Now, whether he becomes the comeback player of the year, that's a whole nother discussion. But the addition of Sean Payton over the blundering Nathaniel Hackett is going to be a massive upgrade. Some sort of coherent offense around him is going to be a huge upgrade. Their offensive line had injury after injury after injury because I cursed them and they all got injured. So that's what happened there. Like, he was running for his life. Everybody gave up on the season right quick. And when is the last time that Russ has been playing for his job? Was that 2012?
Yeah.
He feels all the pressure, all the smoke. And if there's one thing you can say about Russ, for sure, he doesn't get outworked. He is an absolute worker. And Brandon, to your point, I think Sean Payton is going to marry those two styles very well. He's a master offensive genius. I think Russ has a bounce back year, and he needs to earn that paycheck. And I don't think he wants to go out this way. I think he's super motivated.
And as much as I'm rooting for the DeMar Hamlin story as comeback player of the year, my second best option is for Russell Wilson to follow up Geno Smith as the comeback player of the year.
Yeah, that's a nice arc, and the year is done now, right? We got the 5th pick overall. It's all good. Thank you, Russ, and thank you for making that trade, Elway. And now we can start to forgive and forget, right? Just at the end of all of this, he's going to be a retired Seahawk. There's going to be big ceremonies, and we're gonna hug and embrace him, and he's going to go into the Hall of Fame, and obviously mostly as a Seahawk at that point. Those things are all going to happen. So why not start that this year? I could get behind all of that. And also, shake up the AFC a little bit. AFC West is some tough stuff. It'd be great to see some additional competition over there for the Chiefs and the other folks that hopefully we're seeing in the Super Bowl, one of those teams. So I like it.
Don't get me wrong. I still hope the Broncos stink.
Yeah.
I want them to lose a lot.
Well, that's going to be difficult for your bet to come to fruition. However,
it'll work out.
It'll all work out. All right. Beautiful. All right. So I do have my Fail Mary. And if you are watching on YouTube, you probably saw that Wilson had a bolt. So it's okay. He had to go. I love this. We get a text. He's like, hey guys, can we move this up? I want to take grandma to a baseball game. I think it was Texas versus Stanford. I think it's the semis or quarters. That's lovely, right? I wish.
What an elaborate cover story for not paying his power bill. Like I've watched his lights go out and then the batteries ran out on his deck and that was that.
Well, you know what it is.
Yeah. Enjoy the baseball game with grandma.
Yeah. The dude's living in California. They have everything on a timer. And if you leave the lights on for more than 30 seconds, it shuts it off on you. You got to turn them back on manually. It's like, you still using that power? Like, yes, I'm still using the friggin' power. So if you guys are watching
communist timers, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Greetings. All right. So with all that, I've got a doozy here. So this is the Geno Smith year for me. I'll just double down on this. I saw 2 bets, right? There's Geno MVP plus 3,000. I'm like, okay, what's the actual, I guess, what's the actual odds? Well, they're plus 3,000. What are the actual odds? It's not Mahomes or it's not Josh Allen, right? Somebody like that. I don't think they're very good. Even at plus 3,000, I don't think they're very good odds. But then I saw something a little bit right there that I was like, ooh, almost like the Intercontinental Championship belt. Not the Hulk Hogan one, but the Randy Macho Man or Ricky the Dragon Steamboat one, or Hacksaw that they capture for a little bit. Ted DiBiase, if you will, Honky Tonk Man. They've all won it, right? The Intercontinental Championship. Offensive Player of the Year, plus 13,000. So you're like, well, why would they give it to a quarterback? I think the compelling case will be there. Let me paint the picture. Seahawks go 12-5, win the division. Geno has like 38 touchdowns and 4,900 yards and is really, 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 really good. Just not MVP great. Just like they gave it, they were like, dude, you are the comeback player of the year. I think the good vibes for Geno will keep coming along where they're like, dude, we can't take this away from you. And at plus 13,000, that means you lay $1 to win $130. I liked my Fail Mary, so I'm all in on Geno.
Where did you find those odds? I've got it at plus 7,500.
No, FanDuel for that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because on DraftKings they have that at plus 7,500. So that shows you how much more likely DraftKings thinks that is. So something to be said there.
Yeah, there was a big discrepancy, and you'll see this. Like, you don't see this on the week-to-week basis. They're typically within a half a point. It's usually very, very close. But there was actually a pretty wide gap. Another one I pulled out earlier was the Seattle division on FanDuel was plus 220, and I think so it was quite a bit higher than what DraftKings was offering. So moral of the story is, right now you want to bet some Seahawks props. If you have access to FanDuel, you're getting some longer odds, which means it's paying you a little bit more money. So that was a fun exercise. So to go through it real quickly, we had Wilson start off over 10.5 wins at plus 175. Adam had Seattle making the playoffs at a plus 100 even bet. Brandon, I love this. Rams under 6.5. He says no. 4th place Rams at plus 350. Careful, spicy Brandon. And I had Geno Smith at 3,801 yards passing the ball at minus 112. Again, love the 12. Wilson comes back with a Fail Mary-ish, which is what the text read, saying Witherspoon at plus 900 for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Adam comes back with K9 blowing it out. Offensive Player of the Year, plus 7,500. Brandon says Russell Carrington Wilson, Comeback Player of the Year, plus 2,500. And then I go for the gusto. Geno Smith, Offensive Player of the Year, plus 13,000. thousand. So that's just a little flavor of what you get week in, week out. Now, of course, during the season, it's really focused on the actual game. So we'll talk about matchups. We'll talk about why in the world do we take a lot of running back props against us, because last year we couldn't tackle. We couldn't stop the run. Last year I made a killing, I would say, betting some tight end bet every single week because we were in 13 and 12 personnel all the time. That's going to change this year. Adam, you had some favorite bets last year that I can remember. There's one in my brain, but why don't you tell folks what was some of your go-tos last year?
Oh, geez. What were my go-tos last year?
A lot of special teams go-tos.
Yes, I was going to say.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. A lot of those, like no kick shorter than,
or
27
2 field
yards
goals or more in a game.
Yeah. A lot of those special teams bets did me right. Geez, I honestly don't remember because I'm just an in the moment kind of guy. Clint,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that were sticking out for me. You did a lot of like, field goal kicker, whether it was Myers or the other team, like total points over 6.5. And you're like, dude, there's no way. And then most times we hit it. Again, it was our first year doing it. Wilson made money. Adam made money. We were all plus money. Brandon just needs a few more touches. We talked about this, right? And this year we're going to open it up also to the flock. We're going to figure out a way in the Discord. People are playing along all year long anyway. And it was kind of cool because you could see how different people at different parts of the world would get different bets that they could actually play, which was super cool. And people were playing along and gambling a little bit. Whatever you want. We're all adults here and we all had a good time. So Brandon, if they want to be in the Discord, if they want to be hanging out with us game day and sharing their bets with us, what do folks got to do?
getintheflock.com. You can join us there. You get a Discord invite to where everybody who supports us at $3 a month and above, you'll get a Discord link. You can join us there. We have a channel just for PNW Prop Stars, and you can join our game day chat as well. So lots of fun in the off season, lots of fun during the season. And if you really want to hang out, then on the Facebook group, $12 a month and above gets you into that particular group. And just a smaller, more intimate group of people out on Facebook.
Yeah. And Adam, you did such a great job on the last pod you're on, telling folks what the heck they got to do. I think was that episode 404? Was that 405? I forget which one, but you detailed for folks what they should be doing out on YouTube. And I got to tell you, Adam, you move the needle, or the people move the needle when they hear you talk. So yeah, the people, the flock move the needle, but why don't you remind folks what they can be doing to help us out there too?
Yeah, the little flockers are amazing. And if you're yet to have become a little flocker, it's easy. You can sign up and through the Patreon, like we just talked about. That's cool. And you can get in that way. But the thing is, say you're broke, like a lot of people are. Like sometimes I'm broke. Guess what? There's things you can do that don't cost you a dime, but really help us out. Boop that like button. Make sure to smash subscribe. We're trying to get up to, I think, what did we decide the magic number was? 12,000?
12K. Yeah.
We're a ways away. But we just crossed 3,000 and it's growing quick. And it's all because of your guys' awesome support. Just couldn't say thank you enough to all you guys. And it's an exciting season coming up. And we look forward to sharing this ride with you guys.
Yeah, beautiful. So Brandon, Adam said boop. So I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Boop.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.